I'm CrossFit Kid Zai, and today I'm interviewing my dad, Coach D, for Father's Day.
Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast, where we hear and learn from our coaches, CrossFitters, and Glen Ed community leaders. Now, here are your hosts, Dallas and Greg.
Guys, it's Coach G and my son Zai, and for Father's Day, he asked if he could interview me for the podcast. I have no idea what he's going to ask me. You'll be finding out with me what these questions are, and I'll be answering them live in today's podcast. So, Zai, what would you like to know?
Well, first, before we get into it, Dad, what do you think makes me a good interviewer?
Well, we've practiced. The question was, what do I think makes him a good interviewer? We've practiced our public speaking a lot. You do speak loudly and clearly. You don't use ums or uhs. And I think you're genuinely interested too. I think that helps to make those are qualities that make a good interviewer, I think.
And then before we get into the serious questions, we'll have a little bit of fun. Would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
Ask me that question again.
Would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
Well, what counts as a victory? Do I have to kill 100 duck-sized horses in order to win the battle versus killing one horse-sized duck?
Well, it's just would you rather, like, which would you rather do?
I think it'd be easier to kill one horse-sized duck than 100 duck-sized horses.
Really? Why so?
You know how much work it would? I mean, imagine trying to kill 100 chickens. I think killing one medium-sized slow animal would be a lot easier than killing 100 fast little animals, don't you think?
I know, but a duckling is like this big, so you could just like crush them with your foot, just like stomp on them over and over, or just like kick them around like they're soccer balls.
Or I could take a handgun and shoot the duck, and it would be over.
That's a good point. What is the weirdest dream you've ever had?
Weirdest dream?
Yeah.
I've ever had? So some of our podcast listeners may not know that I don't typically dream. It's a very rare day that I fall asleep and have a dream at all. And whenever I say that, people often say, oh, well, you just don't remember your dreams. No, when I have dreams, I do remember them. And there are themes that come up. In a weird way, the number one most common dream theme that I have is I'm a working professional. I have a job. I am working. I'm running my businesses. But I'm also still enrolled at college, and I'm not attending class because I don't really want to be in college anymore. I haven't quit school, so I'm still technically enrolled in school, but I am not going to classes, and I have this persistent sense of anxiety that I'm failing class and ringing up a student loan bill in exchange for me not doing anything at school. That's the most common dream that I have, and it's a weird one.
Pretty interesting. Anyway, if you were a video game character, what character would you be? And what powers would you be?
If I were a video game character, what would my powers be? So I think that most video games reward winning battles by force. Like you shoot your way through a thing, or you punch your way through a thing, or like you strategically shoot and punch your way through a thing. But I think that if I was going to be in any kind of engagement, I'd rather win because of my mind. I'd rather win because of wisdom and making good choices. I don't know if any video game characters or any video games are won by wisdom and making good choices.
So just like wisdom. as a power.
Yeah, I guess if there was a video game that starred Solomon, the wisest man who ever lived, I would play that game and I would try and win by being wise.
That's a good point. Now time to get into the more like serious questions. What were you like when you were 11?
So the question is what I was like when I was 11. And to be completely forthright, I've kind of blocked out a lot of my childhood, and I don't have extremely clear memories of what I was like when I was 11. This would be a better question for my mom to answer. But I will say that just generally speaking, Zai, I was a bookworm. And so if you were to just drop in on 11-year-old me at any given time of day, I was probably reading a book all by myself. By the time I was 11, I was in homeschooling and I was supposed to be managing my own schoolwork, studying my math, studying science, writing these book reports on these books that I kind of didn't feel like reading. When what I was actually doing was I was studying, I was watching basketball and thinking about basketball and collecting basketball cards and reading Calvin and Hobbes and reading every book that Michael Crichton ever wrote multiple times. That's what I was actually doing. I was at home, I was reading all by myself, and I was entirely okay with that. And I was, on a rare day, going outside to shoot hoops on the basket on my parents' driveway. Not well. I was never good at basketball or athletics, for that matter.
Now, did you think that you'd be doing a podcast one day when you were little?
No. Well, when I was little, podcasts didn't exist yet. We had radio. I will say this. I've always had an affinity for radio. I like listening to morning shows. I like being up early and listening to morning shows where they talk about interesting topics. So I guess if you would say that when I was growing up, I had an interest in what was the podcast equivalent of my childhood. I never thought I'd actually be running a radio show or leading a podcast. So this is a sign that I've grown as a person.
What's your favorite memory of us together?
Of you and me?
Yeah.
My favorite memory of me and Zai. You know, that's like trying to pick the brightest star in the sky, son. Like, ever since you were born, I felt like being your dad was the most natural, the most, I don't know, the easiest, the job that I felt most connected to, most resonated with. The moment you were born, I had a memory of you. I remember taking you home. I remember holding you in the palm of my hand when you were smaller than the bandanas I used to wear. I remember holding you in the palm of my hand like this, and that is crazy to think about. You're so big compared to that now. It's crazy to me to be thinking like when I was growing up, I was into basketball, and then once I kind of moved out of my parents' house, I forgot that basketball existed, and I just kind of did other things. And now, like on your own, you fell in love with basketball. And now we watch basketball games together, and you actually care about the NBA Finals. And like you've adopted my entire basketball paraphernalia collection. That is insanity to me. That's kind of a fun memory for me. Memories like us going to Raging River's water park together, us doing $1 Million Doodle together, us practicing public speaking together. I value all of those memories. I don't think I could pick just one.
Next question. If you could trade lives with anyone in the world, who would it be and why?
The question is, if I could trade lives with anybody in the world, who would it be and why? And do you have another note with that?
Yeah, just for one day.
That's a hard question to answer. I don't generally look at anybody else's life and be like, I wish that I was that person. So the shortest answer I have is there isn't anybody that I would love to trade lives with. However, if I had to choose somebody, if I had to say I'd like to be that person, the only person that I really aspire to be, I aspire to be more Christ-like. Every human that I know, myself included, are all deeply flawed people. We all have major problems of our own. And, I could look at it like somebody else's life and be like, oh, they don't have my problems. That sounds nice. Let me go be them and get all of their problems. That said, the person that I probably admire the most, humans on planet Earth, is probably Jason Khalipa. He's one of the early CrossFit Games champions, and he seems like a really genuinely good dude, a good dad, a good husband. He's a business owner. He's a gym owner. He's an entrepreneur. He's been very successful in that. He has his own podcast. He records it. He's also a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt now, I think. He's a great shot. He's a good fighter. He's a lot of things that I aspire to be. Jason Khalipa kind of already is. He's like 5 years to 10 years ahead of me on the journey that I want to be on. And a lot of the values that he has, I think, are the same values that I have.
So he's you, but better?
Yeah, he's me, but better. Yeah. And so if I had to trade places, it'd probably be him, because I think that we have the same values, and that I'd probably enjoy being him for the same reasons I enjoy being me, because he spent his day doing the same stuff that I spend my day doing.
So he's just like you from the future, basically.
Yeah, and I like the work that I have. I like the workouts I have. I like the family that I have, and I don't want to trade any of that away. But if I had to, I probably would want to trade with somebody like Khalipa, who essentially shares my values and probably has a life that's not terribly dissimilar from mine. Although, asterisk, he's more successful in everything than me.
What is something that you've never told me?
Something I've never told you?
Spicy.
I mean, probably from my childhood. Gosh. I accidentally stole something from it wasn't Walmart, it was Kmart. I stole something from Kmart by accident once. Did I ever tell you that story?
No. Well, actually, I think you have.
So, first of all, when we were coming up as kids, like me and my family, we didn't really talk about what we were going to do. We just kind of went and did it. So one day I was just saying to myself, I want to ride my bike to Kmart. And so I hopped on my bike and I just rode my bike to Kmart. And when I was there, there was a machine that could produce a custom, like, Hallmark card is the wrong term, but it's a birthday card or a get well card. There was some event coming up, like I had Mother's Day was coming up or something like that. And this machine, you could go there and you could push the buttons to this image, this font, this color, and then click the thing and it would print the card for you.
It's kind of like Word or Visa print, but back then.
Yeah. So anyway, I pushed the buttons, I designed the card for Mother's Day or whatever it was, and I pushed the print button, it printed the thing and it spat it out. And I was like, they're not charging me for this? That's a pretty cool service. Well, that's nice. I guess I want to ride my bike back home now. And on the ride back home, I was like, there is no way this card was free. I should have gone to the checkout register and asked them, what do I owe you for this Mother's Day card? And I remember that really bugged me, that on the bike ride home, I can't go back now. I can't walk into the store and be like, what do I owe you for this? Because I totally just took this from the store. So it bothered me because I was like, I'm pretty sure I just stole this. I didn't mean to, but I did. And it's to this day, it still kind of bugs me. I probably owe Kmart $5. However, son, Kmart no longer exists.
Okay,
so
I figured. I was about to be like, does Kmart even exist anymore?
Yeah. So that's something, I guess, I don't know if I ever told you that before.
When you I think you told me the part where you say, like, did you ever know I accidentally stole something once? You've told me that part, but not the full story.
Oh, how about this one? So I rode my bike to the movie theater to watch the X-Files movie when that movie came out, but my mom did not like the X-Files. She thought that X-Files was screwing up my head, which, to be completely honest, there were some episodes that scared the crap out of me. Like, there were times in the middle of the night I need to go to use the bathroom, but I was too scared to leave my bed to go to the bathroom. Like, I'm just going to hold it till morning. I'm going to hold it till morning. My bladder felt like it's going to explode. I was too scared to leave my bed in the dark at night to go to the bathroom because there's some episodes of the X-Files that scared the crap out of me. But when the X-Files movie came out and it was in theaters, the way I remember it was my mom did not support the idea of me going to watch the X-Files movie. So what I did was I waited till she had to. So my mom used to go drive to Belleville for grocery shopping because there was like a Sam's Club or something like that.
It's pretty close to us.
In Belleville, Illinois. And when she drove there, she's going to be gone for like 5 hours. So all right, there's a noon show of the X-Files movie. The way that I remember it was I hopped on my bike the minute she left. I rode my bike to the movie theater and I watched the movie there.
That's pretty funny though. I've felt that whole too scared to go in the bathroom thing.
Yeah.
I think I actually felt it like 2 nights ago actually. Anyway, why did you start this podcast?
I had a bunch of reasons to start the podcast. The first was that I thought it would be a cool medium for sharing helpful coaching things that would help a lot of people. I thought it would be a good way of expanding the reach of my coaching influence. But I also thought to myself, even if this podcast goes nowhere and nobody ever listens to an episode, and even if it's just me talking to a camera with nobody listening, I'm getting better at public speaking. I'm getting better at speaking to a camera. I'm going to practice how to get my message across efficiently without using ums and uhs. I'm going to get better at speaking. And so even if this podcast goes nowhere, I'm going to be a better person because I did this podcast.
Next question. Who has been your favorite guest so far on this podcast and why?
Can I say Dallas? He's the most fun, I think, to talk to. He was my co-host for a minute, and he was always a lot of fun to talk to, obviously because he's a friend of mine and he makes things fun, and he's gifted when it comes to speaking on camera. Obviously, he's a stand-up comedian and he does public speaking regularly. He does motivational speaking. He speaks at church. He does pastor stuff at the church. He's a musician. He can sing. He's very talented with everything, presentation, on stage, with a mic. He's fun to have on the podcast. That said, I think that the most fun I had interviewing somebody who is not Dallas was probably Josh McKinney from Head Nod.
Oh, you interviewed him?
I interviewed Josh on the podcast, and Joe Walters from Gracie Humaita. So both Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belts and instructors. They were both a lot of fun to interview and learn their story.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Next question. If you could interview anybody in the history of the world, who would it be?
You. I'd interview you.
Mission accomplished.
Well, you're the person I'm the most interested in.
I mean, well, first, today, second, on my birthday podcast, if you remember those. Those were fun.
Those were fun.
Anyway, next question. What is something people don't realize is hard about podcasting?
The question is something that people don't realize is hard about podcasting. So I've talked to a lot of people and heard from a lot of people that do podcasts, and I've heard it described that the two hardest things to do with podcasting are, first, to push the record button. Like, starting the recording is one of the hardest things for a lot of people. And the second thing is uploading the recording to some public place where people can actually see it is the other hardest thing with podcasting. Now, that's what most people would answer. My answer is probably different, but I had to start with saying what most people find difficult, because for most people, public speaking is terrifying. For most people, public speaking is difficult and scary, and it makes them nervous. And public speaking doesn't make me nervous, doesn't make me scared. So that's not my issue. I'm not scared of the record button. I'm not scared of uploading the video. I'm not scared of nobody listening and nobody caring what I have to say, because my value is not wrapped up in how many likes or how big the audience is. I think that for me, the toughest thing with the podcast is learning how to do it better. And what I mean by that is, I think that the more skilled I am at getting the first 8 seconds to be a great hook, I'm learning how to do that. That's tough. Learning how to communicate my message in a way that is consistently captivating to people and teaches them, entertaining and educational. So I guess for me, the most challenging part is making content that is exciting to hear, engaging to hear, for the right people. It teaches them, but also entertains in some way.
Yeah, I can see that, kind of the fact that most people just want like kids just want to like watch YouTube, play all day, while adults just want to get their work done and then go home, enjoy time with family, and then do what they want.
Sure.
What is something you're really good at that most people don't know about?
Could you ask the question a different way?
What is something people don't know about that you're really good at?
Like a skill that I have that most people don't know about?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. A skill that I'm good at that most people don't know about? I got a few things that come to mind. I don't know if I have a good answer to this, but I think that I'm generally pretty good about keeping my emotions on a tight leash. Like if I get really mad about a thing, I'm pretty good about not lashing out at people. If I'm super happy about a thing, I'm pretty good about not letting it get to my head like, oh, I'm so special. I think I'm pretty good about keeping a pretty sober mind and sober head and not letting my emotions wreak havoc on me. I like to think so. I mean, you might disagree. Obviously, like I don't have a poker face at all. So when I am mad, everybody knows I'm mad. If I'm happy, everybody knows that I'm happy. But I think generally I'm good at not letting my feelings dictate what I do and don't do.
Next question. What is one thing you've done that you're like super proud of?
The thing that I'm the most proud of in the entire world is my relationship with you. Having a good relationship with my son. And like I think being your dad for 11 years has been awesome. And I look forward to the next 100 years of being your dad. I'll probably only be around for like 50, but I look forward to that.
I doubt that, because you're like pretty healthy and stuff, and you exercise almost every day. So I doubt that you're only going to live for another like 50 years.
I was reading the Bible this morning about Jared and Enoch in the book of Genesis, and they lived to be like 365 days old and 900 days old. I'm like, that sounds awful. That sounds awful. Yeah, I think so. I think it was
days.
Years. I think that Jared lived 365 years and Enoch lived like 900 years. And as I was reading that this morning, I was like, that sounds awful to me. Like, there's a concept in negotiation that you should never be so convinced of what you want that you won't take something better. And while I'm going to enjoy this life while I'm here, heaven sounds awesome. It sounds way better than this world. And there is no world in which I want to live for 1,000 years. I want to kick butt and be useful and helpful and make the world a better place and be of service to your mama and service to you and service to others and be a service to your kids. I want to be one of the most helpful people around for like 100 years, and then I want to die and go to heaven.
I agree. If I'm gonna live to a max, like age, probably gonna be like 100. I don't want to live any more, any less.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take like 95. But...
even like straight up, like I think I might even be better off if I died at age 80. You know what I mean? Like I'll be kick butt for 80 years and then lights out. I don't wake up the next day. That'd probably be awesome. And go to heaven. For the record, I've said this before. I'll say it again. When I die, don't mourn me. Throw a party because I'm in heaven and all of my problems are solved. Heaven sounds amazing.
It's going to be hard for me, but people always come to you for advice about what? And why do you think that is?
People ask me a lot they ask me ideas about healthy eating. They ask me ideas about how to exercise a lot. And I think it's because those are things that I do well. And I think a lot of people can kind of see that. And so they're like, if they have questions about how to exercise or how to eat healthy, those are the questions that I get the most.
Okay. What is your biggest, what's your biggest boss move moment?
I'm the wrong person to answer that question. You tell me. Actually, ask your mama. Ask your mom what's my biggest boss move ever.
Mom! What is it?
And what would you say, Zai?
Honestly, I have no clue. Like, maybe just, persevering through this whole gym thing, because you've told me before that most gyms and most businesses in general only live up to, a year or less. 5 years is, 5%, 10 years is, 1%, and then if you're 15 years or above with a business, you're, in the, 1%.
Right.
Yeah. What makes you different from other people who do what you want to do?
No, ask it
again. What makes you different from other people who do what you do?
So if what you're asking is what makes me different from most health and fitness coaches, or what makes me different from people that start coaching businesses, I think that most people that are health or fitness coaches or start health and fitness coaching businesses, I think most people that do that are really, really, really interested in health and fitness. And what they want to do is help improve other people's lives. And they have no interest in the business side of things. I think the thing that most distinguishes me is that I'm actually more obsessed with the business side of things. I like learning about business from all different kinds of sources. I have a whole bunch of different business mentors and business coaches. I have a essentially insatiable appetite for learning about business. That I think is the biggest differentiator, that I actually don't just want to be a coach. I like being the guy that builds something bigger than me, that allows other people to have successful careers in this. I like creating a platform that others can succeed on.
Got it. Next question. I think I already know the answer to the second part of this question, but if somebody made a movie about your life, what would it be called and who would play you?
If somebody was making a movie about me, who would play me?
And what would it be called?
If they're making a movie about me, I hope they call the movie Reliable and Consistent. No one's gonna want to watch this movie. Like literally nobody's gonna want to watch a movie about my life. They'd be bored out of their minds. For the record, I am never bored. I am never bored. That is not something that I experience ever. But if you were just sitting on the outside watching, it's literally me doing the same cold plunge, the same breakfast, the same, phone calls like over and over and over and over and over again. No one's going to want to watch a movie about my life. But you tell me who would play me in the movie?
I think it would be me.
You be me?
Yeah, because I mean, if you remember, like, Mom, how long ago was it? Like that one play that we did?
Oh, jeez.
It was in the apartment. We were at the coffee table. Mom was acting like some interviewer interviewing me, living up to like 965 with like this big foam muscle suit. Remember that with the curly,
I remember that. Yeah,
like I
Curly
just
hair wig.
Yeah, it was like curly hair wig when you were like 19. Just took my shirt off,
Sure.
nice and skinny, and then like 100,000. It was like 600 years later. I just had this like foam muscle suit, and then
I remember.
Yeah, like these like big glasses. I can't remember how big they were.
Thick glasses because my vision isn't not very good.
Yeah.
So maybe you'd play. If I was casting the movie, I'd like for Ryan Felipe to play me, but I'd probably get Edward Norton. I bet Edward Norton gets cast for the role.
Who's that?
He was the nerdy version of Tyler Durden in Fight Club.
Okay. Anyway, next question. What's the best compliment you've ever gotten?
The best compliment I've forgotten? Man, I don't know. What comes to mind right away is your mama describing me as a good father, a good dad for you. First, because her opinion matters more than anybody else's. And second, because being your dad kind of matters more to me than most other things. It's Jesus first, your mama second, and you third. So when Mike Toon met me, he went home and he told his mom that he thinks he might have actually met Jesus when he met me.
That's crazy.
He's like, I don't know about this dude, but he might actually be Jesus. That's what Toon said about me.
How do you know he said that?
But he told me. Like, he told me that multiple times. Yeah.
Like,
he's like, when he first met me, he's like, this guy might actually be Jesus. That's probably the nicest compliment, because I guess to Toon, in that moment, like, he saw Christ-like qualities in me, and then I think we all aspire to that, right? Like, all of us should be the kind of people that represent our King well. So I kind of want to be like that to everybody, to be full of grace and truth, be fully honest with people, but be loving to everybody, to make people's lives better because I was there, to care about people, to lead by example, to walk with my cross without complaining. So that might be the nice thing anybody ever said to me.
What would you like me to remember when I grow up?
There's not just one thing, but as you grow, let's just say I died tomorrow, I hope that you remember the values that I lived by as a man, that I was willing to sacrifice myself and work very hard in the service of people around me. I was willing to do uncomfortable and difficult things to make myself better, and difficult and uncomfortable things to make people's lives around me better. That I actually prioritize my relationship with Jesus, that I prioritize my relationship with your mama, that I prioritize my relationship with you, and that you don't feel like my stuff is more important to me than you are. You don't feel like something else is more important than you and your mama. That I'm obviously like Jesus is more important, but hopefully you remember the example that I said, and hopefully I'm setting a good example of actually having my priorities right. That Jesus, you, your mama, and health should be the top priorities in your life.
What does being a dad mean to you?
I think it's what I just said. Opportunity to hopefully being a dad means that I enable you and I empower you with the skills and the mindset that it takes to go out and fulfill your purpose in life, whatever that is. Because the Lord made you for a different purpose than me, and you have skills and talents that are different than me. And hopefully, let's say the Lord made you to be a basketball player or made you to be a pop singer, right? Neither of those things are right for me, but hopefully the mindset that I've taught you will allow you to be the best pop singer you could have possibly been, or be the best basketball player that you could have possibly been. Hopefully, as your dad, I set a stage where you have a successful marriage, you have a great relationship with your creator, you're healthy and vibrant and fit and athletic, and you literally the entire world is open to you because you have the fitness to do anything you want to do, and you find your purpose in life and you step into it, you experience joy in your work, that you get to do what God made you to do and enjoy it. Hopefully I set you up with success for all of that.
What is your biggest hope for my future?
What I just described. Yeah, what I just said.
And then I think this is the last question. Yeah, this is the last question. Get ready. Between you and me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Who's cooler?
You're cooler than me, for sure. It's not even close. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. You've always been cooler than me, dude. Yeah, for sure.
I find that hard to believe. Because usually before we're going to play basketball or our play day, you're always like, I'm going to cook your ankles, bud. My crossover is too good. And did you bring your ankle braces? And I'm like, this guy. So I find it hard to believe when you say that. Are you just saying that for the camera, or do you?
No, I'm saying that because so first of all, I will cook you, and I will cross you up. But you've always been cooler than me. You'll always be cooler than me. I'm absolutely sure that you will always have more aura than me. Because he takes after his mom. Yep.
Cut that.
Zai is Caroline's head attached to my body.
Oh Lord. If we ever play Never Have I Ever, and it's like never have I ever crossed me up, I'm immediately flipping yours to never. Because no, you will never cross me up, Dad.
It's already happened, boy.
Yeah.
What do we need, video?
Yeah.
Any other questions you want to ask?
No. Well, thank you for listening and tuning in to this episode of the CrossFit Edwardsville podcast. See you in the next one. Thanks for listening to my dad's podcast. For more useful tools and guidance, go to CrossFitEdwardsville.com and feel free to like, share, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comment sections down below. See you in the next episode.